Hello guys, welcome back to this tutorial coming to you from Edenite Technologies, where we create wonderful great content for your learning pleasure and for your listening pleasure. Alright, so this is still with your favorite tutor on web development, Gabi Tech. Okay, so I welcome you back to this today's lesson that is centered on web responsive design. Responsive web design, where we are going to use media query as well as flexbox and grid to achieve this aim. To achieve this aim of making our mobile page or making our web page adaptable to all devices. So the impact or the implication for this responsive web design is to enable what we design, our development, our website, to be adaptable to all devices, be it mobile device, desktop, laptop of all screen sizes, as well as tablets. Okay, so stay tuned and very much attentive so that you grab every bit of this lesson. All right, so in the previous lesson, in the previous video, the very last video we created that's centered on this Facebook login page that we created, we a bit used this responsive web design, whereby if I inspect this web page and reduce the screen size, maybe I reduce it to a certain size, you will see how this interface will change. So that's the implication or the help of this responsive web design. The font you are seeing here is no longer of the same size with the way it was on the larger screen size. Okay, so enough of the long talk. Let us dive in and see what you can achieve with this content. All right, don't go anywhere, stay tuned. And so, having understood what this responsive web design is all about, it's good to mention the key techniques to achieving this responsive web design. And the first among these key techniques is using fluid layout. Fluid layout, in the sense that when you are working on your web page, you don't have to maintain a fixed unit or fixed layout. Rather, make it fluid so that it can be adjustable and adaptable. Another one is using maybe flexible images, flexible image units. Instead of using pixels, you could use percentage. And lastly is using media query. Now we're going to talk about these three in this very video. So pay attention. In the very first video we started creating, if you have been following this playlist, and I will say it now, if this is the very first video you are watching on this playlist, I encourage you to go back to the previous videos so that you can understand what this content, this web development course is all about, because this is just a culmination of HTML and CSS. This very video will dive us in, will introduce us, will launch us into JavaScript, thereby making our website interactive and dynamic. Okay, so in the very first video we started creating that centered on typography. You remember we started with this. We designed something like this. Yeah, we designed something like this, having this navigation bar, having a header, and all this and all that. In some, now it's good, let me say it now, when styling your web page, you would see, or when inspecting a website, you will see that when the screen reduces to a smaller screen, not all these things you are seeing on the header appears. The header is shrunk into becoming, items that are coming after another, or they are hidden inside a hamburger that is represented with the three horizontal bars known as hamburger. When you click on that hamburger, it now shows you these menu items you are seeing here. All right, so let us see how we can achieve that. The hamburger clicking effect will be achieved using JavaScript. That is when we'll dive into that. Okay, so stay tuned. All right, okay. So let's quickly go back to this very page where we started creating this one. Let's see how this page is when we resize it. Now you see how this page gets when we resize it. This is at 920. So we need to do certain things so that we'll see how this page becomes responsive when we add it. This page, I already used the fluid layout I told you about in this place, so that even without using at media query, when it gets to a smaller screen size, only one of these boxes appears, other ones are coming under it. This is achieved using FlexBox, and then when you say flex wrap, you say let them wrap. All right, but if you say no wrap, it doesn't give you this fluid layout. It doesn't give you the fluid layout. So this is achieved with FlexBox. What if we have used grid here? There is one of the video where we use grid layout. I'm going to integrate that grid layout here and see how you can also make it flexible, responsive on all devices, tablets, mobile, desktop, larger screen sizes. Okay, let's dive into the work. So yeah, so while we are here, we already have the, let's get the HTML file that is named typography CSS, typography.html. I think that is it. So it's opened now. Is that really the course? This is CSS layout and flexbox. That's the name. CSS layout and flexbox. So let's get it and style it to make it responsive. CSS layout and flexbox. So this is it. So this login that is here, you could see it here. Now I want us to add another section here, another section that we focus on. Let's use grid. So let me add it here. Section dot grid layout. Section dot grid layout. I want to create more boxes. Now each of these boxes would have a name. Responsive grid. Responsive grid. And inside this responsive grid, I want to use a p tag to still type lorem. So let me create that into more places. No, the div is what I want to create into more places. So this div, let it just be a box. Another one, another one, another one. This is the effect of what I've been creating. This here, this one, this one. I'm going to style them to look like boxes, just like this one, and then use grid here. I'm going to use grid there so that you see what I'm talking about. Okay. CSS grid. I've pasted into how many places now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me make it 5 and 6. 5, 6. The class for this section holding it is grid layout. Let me hope I don't have any other section that is named grid layout. So I want us to go styling it in our CSS. So CSS Flexbox and grid. Let me call that section. That section is named I think it's before category. So dot grid layout. The first one I want to do there is display grid, then grid template columns. Let it be repeat 3 columns, 1 FR. Then dot responsive, what do I call it with? Responsive what? Responsive grid. Dot responsive grid should have box shadow just like this. I hope you are seeing the effects. All right. Then let me give it a gap, not here now, but on this one that has been displayed grid gap of about 10 pixels. You could see the gap between them. Very important. Now I want to get this at media query. Let me get this very one, this dot grid layout. So dot grid layout. It's good you know that we have sizes such as 320 pixels to about 480 pixels for mobile device, 481 pixels to about 768 pixels for tablets. Beyond that, like from 769 pixels to about 1024 pixels for small laptop screen, and beyond that maybe from 1025 pixels to maybe 1200 pixels for larger laptop screen, and above that will be for extra large screen like your desktop that you drop on the that are kept, for larger screen. So it's good you note these pixels. These pixels could also be measured in REM. Now enough of the long talk. Let's get it here by saying at media screen and max width. Max width. Where do I want to get it? Let me say max width 928 pixels. What should happen? Because I want the effect to be seen on this one you're seeing here. Let the grid layout be no longer 3 columns but 2 columns. I want you to notice the effects. 928 pixels. Remember I said 928 pixels. Watch it. When it gets to 928 pixels, only 2 columns you'll be seeing here. 928 pixels. Let me check that again. So grid template column dot grid layout. max width at media max width. I hope you are seeing it. You've noticed the effect now. Only two columns I are seeing here. So when it gets to this size, 928 pixels, beyond that you're not seeing 3 columns. Beyond that you're not seeing 3 columns. Let me even make it to be at 1000 pixels. 1000. So 1000 pixels. Let it just be not 100 now. And if I decide to increase the gap here, making it maybe 20 pixels, you will also notice the difference here. So watch as I reduce the screen size. This is so beyond 1000, it goes back to 3 columns. Once it gets to 1000, it is 2 columns. I'll also get another screen size so that maybe when it gets to about 700, let's 800 pixels, let it be just 1 column. So let me get that too. So when I'm done using this at media, I can get it again at media. Let it be 800 pixels. 800 pixels. Let it just be 1 column, which is 1 FR. So what I want here is 1 FR. So no longer 2 columns. I just want 1 FR. So let me suppose I'm reducing it now and it gets to 800 pixels. You could see it. Only 1 column. And it is just like that. It goes on and on. It goes on and on. Alright. So as you keep reducing it. Now I want to get this part. This very one you're seeing here. So this hero, whatever I named it with, the hero session was displayed as flex. So hero session was displayed as flex. Now I want when it gets to certain limits, let the flex direction become column. So that's how you also adjust that of flex, different from the way you adjust grid. So I want to get at this point, when it gets to 800, let me get hero session. I've copied it, and what I want to add here now is flex direction to be column. Watch what happens. You now see this image coming beneath the write-up. Maybe I do not want this border radius to be like this. Now let me get where I added that border radius, making it maybe about 50%. What do I need to do? I will call it like this as hero image img. Hero image img. I want to change the border radius and make it something else. So I'm still within this at max width, 800 pixels. I call it this way, and then change the border radius from this to about 20%. You could see how 20% is. I think it's a bit better for me. I prefer it like this. Or you could decide to say 25 pixels. 25 pixels. And see how the edges are little curved like this. So this is still good. And now the page is just adaptable and changes on screen, where on different screen sizes. Another part I would want to get is this header you're seeing. So I want when it gets to a smaller screen size like this, maybe at about 400 pixels. about 400 pixels. How many pixels are you seeing now? This is about 600. Oh, okay. Still, I would want to say at about 600 pixels. Let me get to that 800 pixels. Let these items you're seeing here no longer show. That's the point we are now, so that only the logo and what I'm going to add here will begin to show. The three boxes, the three lines that is known as hamburger, the three boxes.